Yet every human on earth, including myself, would take the $1 billion because that's the paradigm I live in. That's the pattern that has been foisted on me like everybody else from birth. Concentrated wealth. Well, I can buy a lot of bites of food with $1 billion. And you see, I mean, so I'm not going to play stupid to anybody. So I get that. But do you understand the profound paradox that God is saying, yes, I'm sorry, but this is what you must contend with. And I understand you love money. I know, because you love to have a roof over your head, for example. You love to have food on the table. You love to have warm clothes, and you like your energy needs being met, and you like to drink pure, clean, filtered water. I mean, it's not like God is stupid. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's be honest about this. So it's just that we've got to understand he's the one that meets our needs. It isn't the money. Okay, God is not the one. When you catch a fish in the ocean, man will charge you for the fishing license to go catch the fish. So you're already in debt to the government, okay, who's supposed to be you and I, we the people. So it's the stupidest thing in the world to need a fishing license in America. To go out and catch a fish, okay, for dinner, so I don't starve to death, I need a license from the government. And I'm in debt to the government, and I got to catch a lot of fish. That's got to pay for a lot of dinners. But I might be desperate and hungry when I go catch the first fish. So am I going to be obedient to the laws of God, or am I going to lie to man and just say, you know what, I'm going to pretend like I have a license and go out there. It's either that or starve to death. Is it God's going to say, that's $5 for that fish, mister. Here, hand it up. Oh, here, God. It isn't his invention. It isn't his creation. No, it's not. It wasn't invented by benevolent beings of superior mind and intellect in order to facilitate exchange. Bull. Okay, I'll call shenanigans. I happen to know a little bit about economics. Not because I've got some Harvard degree, but because I'm very interested. And yes, I've taken some economic course in college. I know a bit. Okay, and I know mathematics. I know how to add 2 plus 2. Okay, basically. Knowing rudimentary economics, fundamental basic economics, is that simple. Adam Smith, I mean, he summed it up. I mean, at the end of the day, look, God provided the capital. What is capital? Is it capital if I go out and I catch a whole bunch of fish? Is that capital? Do I have bartering power? Yeah, so for all intents and purposes, you could call the money capital. I mean, the fish capital, or money. What is money? It's a concept. It's an idea of concentrating wealth. So if I've got a whole bunch of these fish, but I've got to get them out there, I'm under some duress to make sure that they don't, go off and rot. I've got to do something. I've got to make provisions to dry them or freeze them or sell them real quick. And I've got competitors to deal with that are out there catching a bunch of fish too, right? So it keeps the price down, okay? It keeps your cost of living down, your cost of living tax down. If we had a barter system, if there was no money at all, this thing would work a lot better. Jesus knew that. I mean, what do you think that display at the temple was? He was just showing how God felt about that. There could be no equivocation. There could be no, this had to be an incontrovertible understanding of the heart, the mind, the spirit of the Most High God. That the things that are highly valued among men, like this highly concentrated bartering thing, that we call money, this entity we call money, but it's really ambiguous. Well, anything could be money, a fungible asset, right? This or that. Anything conceivably could be money. You could sell your blood for money. You could sell your body parts for money, right? You could sell your baby for money. So anything, could be transferred into money. Anyhow, I think I've made as good a point as I can on the reasons why we should love our enemies and heal the division in the land. And thank your lucky stars you're born in America. It's a great country. Even though I openly, I'm always bitching and complaining about, the fact that we've been going downhill virtually my whole life, since at least 1963 and the assassination of JFK. I mean, look what we're all just accepting here. JFK, understand this, he was in the process, as President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief of the most powerful nation on earth, the most influential nation on earth at that time too. It wasn't the Russians, it wasn't it wasn't the Chinese. It was America at that time. Was abolishing the Federal Reserve. He was by decree of executive order Executive Order 11,110. You can look that up. He was effectively nullifying and he was exterminating the Federal Reserve, extinguishing their very lifeblood, which was being a central bank. And he was supplanting it with this new currency that the Treasury, I guess, was in control of, these silver notes, silver certificates as they were known. So they were actually in circulation. As a little boy, I remember seeing those things. So understand that the fact that we have just been zombified from that time on, we've just put blinders on, and we have accepted this, okay, is just telltale, emblematic, indicative of how far we have fallen as a nation. And it brings great stress and grief to my heart to contend with this. And the best I could do is get it off my chest, because I am not going to answer to future generations for being culpable in this at all. I do not want any of this blood on my hand or on my head, because I'm telling you what, man, we are in dire straits, man. We are so divided as a nation, and we will fall. Okay, a house divided cannot stand, a nation divided cannot stand. All this left-right taunting and negativity and rhetoric is satanic. It's he that wants us at each other's throats. He wants us to devour one another. He would love a civil war. All his minions, the George Soros types, they would love just a big distraction from them and just for us to go to fisticuffs, metaphorically speaking, okay, allegorically, with a civil war. I mean, shooting at each other, really make this divide permanent so that it comes down to, well, you know, we're going to find out who's going to win this thing. But that goes against what God wants. He does not want that. And I do not want that. Okay, and I'm very glad to be an American, but I'm just telling you, this nation has been falling, and we're still falling. Just imagine if your numbers are good, and you're one of those people in that group I talked about who's well-heeled. You're financially secure. You're not financially in fear. You're financially free, and you just want to divorce yourself from other humanity. Tell them, look, you're weak. Get it together, man. You know, pull yourself out of this. Use some common sense. Be pragmatic, and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You live in the best nation in the world. If you can't get ahead here, you can't get ahead anywhere. And all this rhetoric. And I'm thinking, my God, don't they understand that it's just been going downhill by design? If I go out and make $1 trillion tomorrow and give it all to charity and to the poor, the problem comes back like a whack-a-mole. Because the system is broken. Don't you understand? Evil people are in control of policy of currency debasement, perpetual currency debasement, perpetual cost of living inflation tax, perpetual tyranny. Do you understand how this thing works? Do you understand in order to extricate yourself out of the thumb of these tyrants, you've got to first understand how you're being tyrannized, how they're playing you, how you're being duped. And don't say, well, they haven't been duping me. Hey, you know what? They are. And if you're in the well-heeled class, look, you're getting your share through osmosis. You cannot disconnect from your fellow human being. You can't. That's like saying you can disconnect from your conscience. No, it's a default. It's a fail-safe. Okay? You can't. You can't and save your soul at the same time. You can't and be somebody with substance. Okay? You can't do it. You can't deserve or expect to go to a better world from here. And you certainly can't expect even this world to get better. And imagine yourself how that would feel day after day. That nut kept getting harder to crack when you're already on the edge of not being able to pay your rent and feed yourself and your family without going on welfare because you're proud and you don't want to go on welfare and be a taker and a drain on the system, right? But yet we know about Cloward and Piven's strategy. We know they've created this poverty. I mean, who should feel guilty if you need public services? I mean, the sooner you just accept your poverty, maybe your servitude and your oppression, the better. And just give up. Say, well, I can't. This is social Darwinian. I can't just keep working more hours, neglecting my family and all these terrible things. When they keep on raising the bar, they keep making the nut harder and harder to crack. My cost of living tax keeps going up, but I can't raise my income enough. I don't have that power. I'm not in that special interest group that's benefited from raising the cost of living tax. No, I'm over here with the oppressed, the masses that just, are contributing to society, and they're doing jobs that are absolutely imperative to the welfare of society, but they call me unskilled. They say, well, you're just not important enough. You need to have a great education in order to be among the well-heeled group, that special interest group, or that collection of special interest groups, okay, colluding together to form the most pernicious, the worst monopoly imaginable, okay, is just a group of special interest